Hello and welcome to another edition of Long Beach Treasures. I'm your host, Harvey Keller. Today I'm standing in front of one of Long Beach's most popular and certainly one of the oldest bars in the city of Long Beach, JoJo's. This popular bar is really a friendly bar, and as you walk through the swinging doors you almost expect people to say, "Norm," because this certainly is the type of bar where everybody knows your name. So come on in and we'll go in and we'll see what JoJo's is like. Okay, joining me now is Sean Flathers. Are you the manager here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and JoJo's has been here how long?
88 years.
JoJo's, is that the name of the original founder?
Yes, it is.
And is it still in the Jost family?
Yes, it is. The grandson owns it now.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And you've been here for?
Going on 18 years.
The place, the bar.
Oh, the bar? 88 years.
88 years. And this is the original location?
Yes, it is.
Wow. And your specialties here are, it has to be eggs, because I see a case full of eggs here. What's special about the eggs?
They're pickled in our brine that we've had for years.
And you also have some special sandwiches here?
Yeah, it's called Joe Special. It's Polish sausage on rye, pickle, mustard, and Swiss cheese.
Now, do you do a big lunch business here?
Yeah, come about 11:30, 12. People start coming in. You know, lasts for a couple hours and dies down. Then later on, starts picking back up again.
Now, do you have a lot of regular customers who've been coming here for years and years?
Yes, we do.
Do you?
I see the same face over and over again.
Is that just because it's such a friendly bar?
I sure hope so. I mean, we want to keep them coming back.
Now, this doesn't look like it's been remodeled for a few years. You've been here since
24.
And so it's sort of in the original condition then.
Yeah, I mean, we've made a few changes, but we try to make them subtle so people don't notice.
And I notice you have big mugs for the beer.
Yeah, they're called schooners.
Schooners?
Yes.
Has this ever been used as a film location?
Yes, we've done quite a few.
And you're open 7 days a week?
7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. till 11 p.m. and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Now, you have something in the back room here I want to ask you about. Could we walk back here for a minute? The peanut roaster here. Tell me about it.
Well, we've had it now for probably 10 to 12 years. We got it from the Marmion Company. They owned a spice and paper company down on, I think it was Broadway, and they had a fire. They weren't going to reopen. They've been around Long Beach for about as long as we have, maybe even longer, and they thought it'd be a good fit, so they came and talked to the owner, see if we wanted to take it, and he said sure.
Now, how often do you roast peanuts?
Right now, 5 days a week.
Just one barrel a day, or?
Depends on the day. You know, Fridays, Saturdays, we'll generally do 2 batches. Mondays, 2 batches, because we don't roast on Tuesdays.
Is this
for now.
operated by an electric generator?
Electric motor. I'm not sure if it's the original motor, but it's pretty old. It's, you know, probably 1920s.
So you use raw peanuts and then just roast them?
Yes, we do. For about 55 minutes, and take them out and hand out a few samples, and hope people like them and buy them.
That's great. And the pool hall here, this is used a lot?
Yeah, it does. It's more of a convenience for our customers to have something to do while they're here. You know, the tables are turn-of-the-century Brunswick tables, so they're fairly old.
Really a large room back here, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All of these pictures, are these people who have some significance with the place? Or?
Yeah, well, if you notice, everybody in these pictures are wearing a JoJo's T-shirt. They're all over the world, and it's something that somebody started a long time ago and just caught on. So they're going to someplace famous or whatever, they take their JoJo's T-shirt, get their picture taken, and we put it up.
Like the press telegram picture?
Yes.
That's a great idea. At least you get a lot of publicity over the world.
Oh, we certainly do.
This is really a neat old place. It's just, how come you've never been designated a historical site?
That I can't answer. I'm not sure. The owner would probably know.
It really seems like you should be, since you've been here for so long and since you've played such a part in Long Beach for 80 years. Have you ever had any famous people just stop in that you know of?
I haven't seen them, but when the Rams used to practice over here at Blair Field, I heard they used to come in a lot. Joe Namath and some of the other football players.
Yeah, he used to live down on the peninsula when I lived down there.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. So, can we go back out and maybe talk to a couple of your bartenders?
Sure.
Okay, joining me now is
John Rafkin.
John. How long have you worked here?
It's been about 2.5 years now.
And how do you like it?
One of the best jobs I could say I've ever had, actually.
What's so special about Joe Joe's?
Clientele and management and ownership.
I feel comfortable back here. Maybe I can come and get a job.
I don't know. I'm still waiting for another shift, so
Oh,
you're on a list.
All right. Thanks for talking to us.
No problem.
And now joining me is
Chris Tidwell.
Chris. How long have you been here?
Been here about a year.
And do you like it?
Oh yeah, I enjoy it very much.
How many beers do you have here? Do you know?
We have 10 beers on draft, one of which is a root beer and a non-alcoholic also.
Just plain root beer?
Yeah, root beer on draft. Very good. Very popular at lunch.
Now, I see in here eggs after eggs after eggs. A lot of eggs.
Endless supply of eggs. We sell about 300 a day. So you can see, we shell them all by hand too. It's pretty cool.
Oh, they must really be popular.
Very popular.
What do you like best about working here?
I actually like the diversity of the customers. It's pretty cool. You can come in here and meet all kinds of different people, and if you come in here and enjoy a beer, usually you're not going to feel out of place. You'll fit right in and have a good time.
Do a lot of people drink the plain root beer?
Lots of people drink the root beer. It's really popular at lunch, and then when the families come in with their kids, the kids will have the root beer and enjoy the day here at Joe Joe's, playing pool and whatnot. And
isn't that unusual to have root beer on tap in a bar?
it's pretty unusual. People are surprised when we do say that we do have root beer on draft, but once they try it, they love it.
What's your most popular beer?
By far, Pabst. Pabst
It
Blue
is?
Ribbon. Yep.
Well, that surprises me. I didn't even know Pabst was still in existence.
Yeah, it still is our most popular beer. I don't know the figures, but it's probably 8, 9, 10 to 1 of any other beer on tap.
Draft and bottle?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that really
Get
surprises
the most bang
me.
for your buck.
That really surprises me. I wouldn't expect Pabst to be the most popular beer. I would think Bud, Coors are one of those.
Coors Light falls in a close second, but Pabst is still the most popular.
Well, this is a great place, and I just think it's a neat place to come, and I hope that people who haven't been here will come down and check it out, because this certainly is one of Long Beach treasures.
Oh, definitely. Come on down. You guys will have a good time.
Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
Okay, joining me now are two of the customers here at Joe Joe's. And your name, sir?
Walter Cernecka.
And
Yeah, I'm Rob, his friend.
now, how long have you been coming here?
God, probably since 1980.
Well, what's the big attraction here at Joe Joe's?
Just kind of the family atmosphere, I guess, and just good people.
Is it a friendly bar?
Almost.
yeah, it's very friendly. I think because one of the biggest things, it's very nostalgic, and it was here since 1924, and you just don't see places like this anymore. I mean, it's one of a kind.
Is it sort of like a Cheers bar where everybody knows your name?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. Everyone comes here, and everyone knows who you are, and it's just a very quaint place.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
I noticed two pictures up on the wall behind us. Who are they?
Well, as we're looking at it's Joe Sr. on the left and his son Joe Jr. on the right.
Sean, I want to thank you for letting me stop by and check out Joe Joe's today, because I truly do think this is a Long Beach treasure. So thank you for letting us stop by.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
And don't go away, we'll be right back, and cheers.
What makes Paulie's different?
Well, first of all, his coffee is fresh roasted 1,000 miles from Seattle, so we like to have coffee that's fresher and tastes better.
We carry about 70 varieties of coffee. But the thing that I believe makes Paulie's special is the people who work at Paulie's. We're a neighborhood store. We're your family store. We know you, you know us. We'll take care of you. We were voted the #1 coffee house in Long Beach in the recent Press Telegram poll.
Paulie's Gourmet Coffee. Doesn't get any better than this.
Oh, hi, I'm Dr. Jack Thomas, and I'm very excited to tell you that Dr. Jack's House Call in conjunction with Charter Communications is on the air in its brand new format. We're live the third Tuesday of each month at 6:30 p.m. with repeat performances twice weekly. It's incumbent on us to be advocates for our own good health. Staying well comes from living well, being informed, and not relying on health insurers who may not have our best interests in mind. So be smart. Tune in. It's your life.
All the gin joints.
No cuts. No commercials. No competition.
I don't want any trouble.
Only the greatest movies of all time, all the time. Turner Classic Movies.
Catch it on Digital Channel 93, Analog Channel 54B.
Wilbanks Carpet Company. If you're looking for carpet, floor covering, beds, or furniture, come to Wilbanks. We carry all the major premium carpets by Karastan, Horizon, and Mohawk, and you never have to pay sales tax. See our premium bed selection with many name brands to choose from. Or check out our furniture with the latest styles at great prices. View our beautiful floor coverings from Mannington, Wilson Art, and many more. Wilbanks Carpet Company. Never pay retail or sales tax again.
Welcome back to Long Beach Treasures. I'm your host, Harvey Keller. The building I'm standing in front of now was built in 1924, and it housed a market. After the 33 earthquake, this one-story plus mezzanine was remodeled using a streamlined modern motif, and it was an automobile showroom for Glenn E. Thomas Automobile Dealership. In 1964, Acres of Books moved here. Acres of Book is a family-owned store that has been in existence for well over 50 years. Bertrand Smith, who was the founder, was a recognized dealer in antique books, and he also donated a sizable collection of rare books to the Long Beach Public Library system. So let's go in and we'll see what an old bookstore looks like. This certainly is not the same concept of the modern bookstores that we're used to today. So let's go in and check it out. Okay, joining me now is Jackie. And Jackie, your position here?
I'm part owner, manager, General Dog's Body.
Oh, then are you part of the Smith family?
I'm the granddaughter-in-law of Bertrand Smith, who is the founder.
So this is still in the same family?
Same family, third generation.
For well over 50 years?
Yeah, close to 1934 to now. That's about 70 years almost.
Okay, now tell me, down to the last book, how many do you have here?
A lot. Counting what we have in storage, we probably have 1 million.
Wow.
There's 6.5 miles of shelves, and there's probably 700,000 on the shelves to be sold.
How do you know where all these books are? I look down here and I just see row and row and row and shelves after shelves of books. And what if I came in and I said I wanted October 31st, 1933 National Geographic? Could you find it?
No, I'd have to tell you we don't do geographics anymore. We don't have any magazines.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the sign lies. But the books are set up by subject matter, and we can pretty well tell you where to start looking.
Now, how do you get your collection here?
We buy them from people off the street who are moving, who are cleaning out their attics, whose interests have changed. There are people who go to the thrift stores and estate sales and buy things that they hope to resell to me. I buy estates. If you have over 500 books, I'll take my big truck and come out to your house. But I don't buy everything. I go through every book and look at it and decide if I want it or not, because I don't have any storage space left.
What determines whether or not it's a collection or a book you might want to purchase?
Whether or not I have it or can sell it. Things that just don't sell are old textbooks, Reader's Digest condensed books, book club fiction, just because there's so many copies of them around, you don't need any more. Things I always need are books on trains and chess and the beat writers, classic metaphysics like Theosophy and Manly P. Hall, those kind of guys we need.
I notice you keep up to date because in your front window I noticed you had several copies of Elvis Presley.
That's John's doing. He keeps our windows up and tries to find something topical and interesting.
Now, is that an area of books that would be saleable?
Certain titles. Again, there are certain titles that we have a lot of, and we won't take those because we've got a lot.
Now, somebody had mentioned one time that Ray Bradbury used to come down here.
Yes.
Does he still?
He hasn't been in lately since he had a stroke. He doesn't have the strength. But he used to come in every time he had a speaking engagement around here, and he would come down in his limousine with Stan Freberg and John Lord and a couple of guys from New York, and they would party on the way down, come in here, shop, accept adoration, then go over to the Sir Winston room and have dinner, and then go to his speaking engagement, and then go home.
And what kind of books did he buy?
Reference books, mostly research stuff, and other people's science fiction.
This is really an interesting...
you want to walk on?
Absolutely. Let's just look around here.
Okay, we'll go on off. This is the so-called music room. Right now, the electrician's working in there because the lights have gone out. Stay close to the mic. And all the little side rooms, that's a restroom.
I like your bookshelves. They look, a lot of them just looks like crates, are they?
A lot of them are old apple crates. This is the military room here, the whole thing, on America's wars. Yeah, he used to go over to the farmer's market and buy the apple crates for 7 cents a piece. And so yes, a lot of our shelves are apple crates. When we were across the alley from Buffum's, he used to go out in the alley and pick up Buffum's discards. So our wonderful tables that we use for pricing and checking and everything are Buffum's old yardage tables.
Boy, this just keeps going back and back and back.
Back and back. We go clear to the alley. We're headed for the fiction room now. And we're passing through natural history and women's studies. Off to the side, we've got world history and biographies and business books and education.
Was it your grandfather that gave a sizable donation of rare books to the city library here in Long Beach?
Yes, that was my husband's grandfather.
And what kind of books were those?
They were quite expensive, rare books. He used to go to England many times a year and buy collections there. He would go into a bookstore and say, I want those, and buy a whole wall, and he'd ship home 2 or 3 containers of books every couple of months. And so we got some wonderful things, and he decided to donate some to the library, and they're in the room whose name I can't remember in the basement of the library.
This certainly is different than some of the modern bookstores that you have in some of the malls today, like Borders.
Yes, it is. We are not disabled compliant, unfortunately. We were grandfathered in under that because we were built before people were aware of that sort of thing.
I didn't see a little coffee pot and croissants like the others
No,
have.
we have no coffee pot. When it gets hotter, I'll have a jug of ice water by the register. That's as good as it gets.
So now we're in the fiction
room.
section?
And we go on back through here. We have subcategories of fiction. We have science fiction, mysteries, horror, westerns, military.
You probably do have an acre of books here, don't you?
I think we do. With the 6.5 miles of shelves, if we laid them out flat, there's probably an acre.
Wow.
I'll take it back and show you the warehouse, and you'll see kind of what we're up against.
And where were you located before you moved here?
We were at 140 Pacific, which is kind of where the City Hall is now.
Oh.
Yeah. This is the storage, one of them.
These are all filled with books?
These are all books.
Wow.
All of this. And we just come back and take up 4 boxes at a time, price them, sort them, put them where they belong. And
this looks like Grandma's attic, doesn't it?
it's worse. It's scary back here sometimes. And, if you come in and ask for a specific book, sometimes we'll say, duh, what's it about? And we'll try to send you to where we think it will be if we have it. And
No, you don't sell new books.
we have a few review copies and what are called remainders, which are things that have gone out of print that they're trying to get rid of, and they discount them.
No, you did away with magazines simply because you had no room?
Yeah, and it's just trying to keep them straight, what what people want, and to try to keep them from getting torn up, all that sort of thing. It's just way difficult. It's a whole other specialty. That, he used to get them from the post office, the undeliverable magazines.
Oh.
And bought them by the ton. And he'd pick out the ones that he could sell.
Quick, let's grab some boxes. I see some empty shelves here. We can fill them up.
That was our Sea Stories section, and it kind of got
Washed
bought out.
away?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the holes are always in the wrong place. Our science fiction section is just jammed right now, and we have empty shelves in the Sea Stories, but you don't really want to start taking, you lose what continuity you have when you do that.
Now, I'm sure that you're internationally known, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. We've got people who come in from all over the world. When we had the urban renewal crisis a few years ago, we put forth a letter writing campaign. We got letters from everywhere in the English-speaking world and some that don't speak English. We got them from Holland and Germany and England, South Africa, Brazil.
And I suppose you have customers who keep in contact with you in case you get a particular book or books?
We don't run a want list, but we have people who call us every month looking for certain things. People who are here every day on their lunch hour.
I know a lot of my friends come down here and just go browsing, and I have one friend who lives up in Northern California, and every time he and his wife come down here, he spends half of his time here in the bookstore because he loves this place.
Yeah, I appreciate that. There are a lot of people like that. We have one woman who's her birthday present every year. Her husband drops her off on his way to work, and then he picks her up and takes her to lunch, and whatever she finds between opening and lunch is her birthday present. So that's always kind of fun.
Does she rake in quite a few?
Yeah. She likes the biographies of women, so she does real well on that.
Well, your aisles are narrow, and it's just packed with books.
It's packed, and you'll notice the lighting's not real hot back here because there isn't any. We have skylights. On cloudy days, we give you a flashlight.
Well, I just can't believe and get over all of the books and the rows. And just looking here, this reminds me of standing on the deck at the Queen Mary. You look down and it keeps on going forever, and that's exactly what this seems like. It goes on forever.
Yeah, it does. It's a half a block long, and it's great fun working here. And people always ask what happens in an earthquake, and the answer is nothing. We never have more than maybe 100 books on the floor because the earthquakes seem to go this way, the same way the shelves are. So they just kind of flop on the shelves and nothing happens. So far, knock on some wood.
Boy, this is indeed a Long Beach treasure, isn't it?
It is. We are a landmark. Fortunately, we have a little bit of an interesting facade, so they got us in under that, but we're really a landmark for the business itself. They wanted to save that.
So this is designated by the Cultural Heritage Commission as a Long Beach landmark?
Yes,
Oh, I knew the building was. I didn't know Acres of Books.
Acres of Books is.
Oh.
Yeah, but it was, as I said, we're in constant state of shelving, organizing, moving around, getting stuff done. We have fans going because we've no air conditioning.
What are your hours and how often are you open?
We're open from 9:15 to 5, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. During daylight savings hours, we're open from 9:15 to 7 on Friday and Saturday, and on Sunday from 11 to 4.
And I'm sure you have people here
Oh, yeah.
from opening to closing.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to throw them out, and they offer to stay if we'll give them a flashlight and leave the cat. So,
this is wonderful.
And the cat's one of our big draws. I don't know where she is right now, but we have people who come in and just to talk to her and walk out again.
And you're right across the street from another landmark, the old post office.
Yes, isn't that a wonderful building?
It is. It's a beautiful building. I wish we had more of the old monumental government buildings that have been torn down in Long Beach here.
Don't go there.
I know. I was president of Long Beach Heritage for 3 years.
Yeah.
So I was very involved with the preservation. And in fact, as being with Long Beach Heritage, I did the downtown walking tour.
Oh, wonderful.
And we always stopped across the street there and talked about this building and acres of books.
Well, I'm so glad you came in.
And several times when I did the Elder Hostel tours, a lot of people on the Elder Hostel tours who weren't from Long Beach knew of, they called Bertrand Smith instead of Acres of Books, but they knew of the place, and that's where they all wanted to come over here. So it's a popular destination for a lot of people.
It is. And he had the store in Cincinnati before he came out here. He came here when in his mid-60s and opened this store and worked here up until 2 weeks before he died at the age of 94 or 95.
And when was that?
64, 65.
Oh, it's been quite some time ago.
Yeah, and then his son Gene took over the store at that point and ran it until his death in 92, at which time my husband and I took over. But the family story, which may or may not be true, was that Bertrand and his wife had an argument in Cincinnati, and he put his toothbrush in his pocket and got on the train, and this was as far as the train went.
But she didn't come with him.
Well, she came later.
Oh.
I guess he got tired of being mad at her and sent for her.
And so that he started the bookstore then?
Actually, he started a tiny bookstore in the depot in San Diego, because San Diego's really where the train went.
Used books?
Used books, he called it the Traveler's Bookstore. And then he came to Long Beach and got the big store going. And we had one man, Frank Cotton, that almost everybody knows, who worked here his entire working life, except for the time he was in the Army during World War II. Worked here from the day he got out of college, well, he was in college until he died in his mid-80s, about 5 years ago.
Wow, he was here a long time.
He was here, and he knew everything. People would walk in and say, I'm looking for this book. It's black, about that tall, has line drawings of Indian dancers. He says, oh yeah, that's such and such, David so-and-so illustrated. I haven't seen a copy for 20 years. I saw that with my own eyes. I thought, wow. Because he lived and breathed books. He never got married, lived in his parents' family home all his life. And was just an amazing man.
Well, you know, I want to thank you for joining me today, because this certainly is a Long Beach treasure, and I know a lot of people in Long Beach come here, shop, browse, and I'll have to go through and see if I have any rare books at the house I'll bring over and donate.
Oh, well, we'll buy them if we can use them.
Jackie, thank you so much for letting us stop by.
Thanks so much for coming in. It's been a pleasure.
And be sure and join us again next month as we take another walk through history and uncover more Long Beach treasures. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Long Beach Treasures. I'm your host, Harvey Keller. Today we're going to be visiting the historic Rancho Los Cerritos. This was part of a 300,000 acre land grant given to Manuel Nieto in 1784. And then it was divided up into 5 ranchos of approximately 27,000 acres each. One of those was Rancho Los Cerritos. John Temple built the 2-story adobe house in 1844. The Flint Bixbys purchased the property in 1866. In 1930, Llewellyn Bixby remodeled the home as a single family structure for he and his family, and in 1956 the city of Long Beach bought this, and it is a National Historical Landmark. One of the things that is taking place today is that the Rancho has been closed for the last 17 months. It's been undergoing seismic retrofitting and restoration, and today is going to be the grand reopening. Rancho Los Cerritos is the only historical site in the city of Long Beach that is on the city, state, and National Registry of Historic Places. It has also been designated by the Department of Interior to be a national landmark. So we have an interesting day here today, so as soon as they cut the ribbon, come with me and we'll take a step back in time and we'll see what life was like here at the Rancho in 1844.
On the count of three, shall we?
Right.
1, 2, and 3.
Joining me now is Steve Iverson, whose title is Historical Curator. Steve, they've done a beautiful job in retrofitting and restoration up here. And where we're standing here, there used to be a big wall, I believe, up here, and that's been gone now.
Yeah, the wall was put in 1982 by the city, and with our new master plan, one of the decisions was to take the wall and the courtyards out and restore the 1930 fruit orchard that was designed by landscape architect Ralph Cornell.
So this is where the fruit orchard will be. You'll be adding more trees?
Quite a few more. They'll be in nice, neat rows, and it will give a wonderful view as people come up the driveway to see the trees rather than a blank white wall.
Let's go around front. I would like to have you tell me about the garden up there. Okay. Let's go. Now, Steve, tell us where we are now and where we're going.
We are in the garden outside the historic adobe building, where you see the veranda, which originally dated back to 1844 and was completely rebuilt in 1930 by the Bixby family. The garden out here is a more formal, a less formal garden than the original garden that was planted by John Temple in the 1840s. And this, again, was landscaped by Ralph Cornell, and we have been trying to restore a lot of the plants to that 1930 design.
You have, what, 4.7 acres here?
Exactly.
Let's go down and look at this quaint little garden down here. Now, is this typical of what it would have looked like in 1844, the layout?
Actually, this is a 1930 layout. The original square grid pattern is different today, and although there are several surviving trees from the 1840s, most of the rest of the vegetation is 1930 era design.
So this would be the Jotham Bixby era?
Actually, the Llewellyn Bixby era.
I meant Llewellyn.
Right.
Llewellyn Bixby, because he moved here in what, 1866?
Jotham Bixby moved here in 1866, and the family continued to own the site, but did not redevelop it and remodel the house until 1930. So we have actually multiple historic periods in the house.
This is a quaint little garden. It's really, since it's so hot out today, it feels good back here.
The canopy of trees, many of them date from 1930, so you can see how large they've grown. The tree right here to our right was planted by John Temple around 1850. It's one of two olive trees that were planted on the site and have continued to live until into several more centuries.
So it's just a trunk that's left.
This one, just the trunk, and we have another one that is still giving us olives.
Edible?
If you process them, yes.
Huh. So this is just a little garden just to walk around, commune with nature, and just enjoy the outside?
Yes, and in the 1930s, when the Llewellyn-Bixby family had several grandchildren, they would be out here playing on the paths and chasing marbles all up and down. All kinds of things where they had creative fun in the garden.
How many gardeners does it take to keep this up?
We have a full-time horticulturist and 1.5 days a week of a mow and blow crew that comes in and assists us under her direction.
So it's really a skeleton crew that keeps this looking so fantastic.
Well, we try to be as efficient as we can and yet maintain the historical integrity of the site.
We just keep wandering around here, don't we?
Yeah, the wonderful pathway that circles the garden leaves a great lawn area for games and activities, luncheons, etc.
Let's walk down this way. I want to ask you a question down here.
Okay.
I heard an interesting story earlier this morning, and I'm going to ask you to tell us about it. I understand that you had a bunch of folding metal chairs which had perhaps seen better days, and you decided to come up with a creative way of getting some new chairs. And that creative way was?
Well, our Friends organization, someone came up with the idea of endowing chairs, just like a great university would. And in this case, for a donation of $50, various people in the community and in the volunteer organization paid to have their names inscribed on a chair as their own endowment.
What a creative way to get new chairs.
It has turned out really good. We've got 100 new chairs that look like they'll last us for hopefully longer than the old ones did, which was quite a while.
Well, that's great. Steve, thank you. I'm going to wander in the house and see some of the docents and see what they have to say.
Okay, enjoy
Thank you,
it.
sir.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found two guests here who have stepped back from time. This is Llewellyn Bixby Jr. and Sarah Bixby Smith. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's,
Pleased to be back.
Isn't it nice? And I've read your book, Adobe Days.
Well, have you? I'm so pleased that people are still reading it.
Oh, absolutely. It's a bestseller.
That's marvelous. Well, this must... Surely we are still in the 20th century, right?
Oh,
and you're still
absolutely.
reading it?
Absolutely.
We couldn't be in the 21st century
Well,
yet, right?
you know, we might be by now.
Whoa, my goodness, and they're still reading my book.
Test of time. It stands up, doesn't
Yes, it does.
What was life like back in 1844? Is that when you moved here?
No, I remodeled the house in 1930, and my father and uncle moved into the house in the 1860s. My father, Llewellyn, and our uncle, Jotham, was the one who moved into the house in 1866 and raised sheep in the 1860s. Now, I remodeled it in 1930, moved in 1931, St. Patrick's Day.
Well, how does it look to you today?
It looks beautiful. The color, the walls, and the trim is just as I envisioned it. Sun porch and everything is back to the way it was. And one touch that I really enjoy is the frog spitting water into my pond.
I thank you so much for joining me, and I'm so glad that you made it back.
Thank you very much.
We are too.
Thanks for having
you.
us.
Okay, now I found three more treasures here at the Rancho. These are all members of the Bixby family. Now, I know you're
Jean Bixby Smith. Yes.
And you remember being here as a child.
Absolutely. Lots of fun memories. Barbara told you of some of them when she spoke earlier, and maybe she'll repeat those. There's one story that I don't remember, but that I was told, which was the time when I was 2 years old, when I disappeared during dinner and reappeared with moss and things hanging off me. Apparently I had fallen in the fish pond and dragged myself out. Gave them all quite a fright.
And this is Mark Bixby, and
Yes.
you must be a grandson?
I am Jean's nephew.
Great-grandson?
I'm the great-great-grandson of Llewellyn Bixby. and the first Llewellyn. There were 4 before me. So.
And you're still involved with the Bixby Land Company?
I do. I'm vice president of Bixby Land Company, and we do commercial development in Long Beach in Southern California.
I'm your competitor, I guess. I'm a docent at Rancho Los Alamitos, so I'm on the John Bixby side rather than the Jotham Bixby side.
Well, I'd say we're friendly competitors.
All right.
We know and like a couple of the folks over there.
I'll buy that.
Right.
And I'm sorry, you are?
I'm Barbara Bixby Blackwell.
And you're her sister?
I am Jean's sister, yes.
And Mark's aunt again?
Yes.
And what do you remember as a girl here?
Well, I have a cousin, Stephen Dudley, who was my father's sister's son, and Steve and I were the same age, so I remember running races around the front yard. There's a dirt pathway that goes around the yard, and I can remember it's in a perfect oval shape. It was a great racetrack, so I remember running races on that pathway. That was fun.
How does the place look to you today?
Oh, it looks wonderful. The work that they've done here is remarkable, and it's such a pleasure to see it refurbished and repainted and spruced up, because it was looking a little sad in places, and it's very nice.
Well, what a treasure we have here in Long Beach. I'd like to thank the 3 of you for stopping by and saying hello, and enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And here's one of the fabulous docents up here at Rancho Los Cerritos, Maureen Haybull. Maureen, tell us a little bit about the room that we're in.
Well, we're in the family's dining room, and I think the first thing I'd like to point out, Harvey, is this ceiling is original from 1844.
Wow.
The room is set up to depict what the family dining arrangements would have looked like when the Jotham Bixby family lived here from 1866 to the early 1880s. Now remember, between 1844, when the rancho was built, and when the Jotham Bixby family moved in here, it was a cattle ranch. So food was very, very limited during that period of time. Obviously, they had choice cuts of beef because they really raised the cattle for the hides, and they had lots of beef, tortillas, corn, beans, but not a lot of variety. When Jotham Bixby and his family moved here, of course, they were from Maine, from New England. They had a family. They were used to much more variety of foods. So this room, again, shows that the family would have sat in here, children as well as adults. The aprons over the chairs show that women and girls always wore aprons, and primarily to cut down on laundry, because laundry was such a problem.
Is the furniture original?
The furniture is not original to the family, but it's original to the time.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time out to give us a brief tour of the dining room.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more Long Beach Treasures.
Look, peas. Don't turn away. I'm not a cook. I did not take your raffle. You'd like to see your mommy, wouldn't you?
Hey, you guys. How you doing?
We're doing fine.
Hey, sweetheart. You having fun with Uncle Dan?
I got a couple of questions if you...
I've got to go, but
Wait. No, don't go ahead.
Video calling.
Well, it's just you and me, babe. What do you want to do?
The future's coming from the company with the most advanced digital platform.
Straight Talk with your host, Art Levine, returns to the airwaves. Featuring his unique brand of interview style, topics discussed on Straight Talk will focus on issues, events, and people of importance to Long Beach, as well as the region and the state of California. Tune in Wednesdays and Thursday nights at 6:30 p.m. for lively and provocative discussions with people who are making the news. Straight Talk on Charter Channel 3, your local origination channel for Long Beach and Signal Hill.
What makes Polly's different?
Well, first of all, his coffee is fresh roasted 1,000 miles from Seattle, so we like to have coffee that's fresher and tastes better.
We carry about 70 varieties of coffee. But the thing that I believe makes Polly's special is the people who work at Polly's. We're a neighborhood store. We're your family store. We know you, you know us. We'll take care of you.
We were voted the #1 coffee house in Long Beach in the recent Press Telegram poll.
Polly's Gourmet Coffee. Doesn't get any better than this.
Oh, hi, I'm Dr. Jack Thomas, and I'm very excited to tell you that Dr. Jack's House Call, in conjunction with Charter Communications, is on the air in its brand new format. We're live the third Tuesday of each month at 6:30 p.m. with repeat performances twice weekly. It's incumbent on us to be advocates for our own good health. Staying well comes from living well, being informed, and not relying on health insurers who may not have our best interests in mind. So be smart. Tune in. It's your life.
Of all the gin joints.
No cuts. No commercials. No competition.
I don't want any trouble.
Only the greatest movies of all time, all the time. Turner Classic Movies.
Catch it on Digital Channel 93, Analog Channel 54B.
Wilbanks Carpet Company. If you're looking for carpet, floor covering, beds, or furniture, come to Wilbanks. We carry all the major premium carpets by Karastan, Horizon, and Mohawk, and you never have to pay sales tax. See our premium bed selection with many name brands to choose from. Or check out our furniture with the latest styles at great prices. View our beautiful floor coverings from Mannington, Wilson Art, and many more. Wilbanks Carpet Company. Never pay retail or sales tax again.
Okay, Maureen, I see I picked you up again, and we're going to see another room. Tell me about this one.
Yes, this is the what would be have been the master bedroom for the Bixbys. As you can see, just looking around here, infants slept in the room with the adults here. Now, because of the 1930s restoration, some of the things in this room was not quite as long as it is now, and this fireplace was not there, nor were those door entries there. You can see, just looking around the room, some of the activities that would have taken place here, starting over here with sewing. Probably by the time Jotham Bixby and his family moved in here, they could probably afford to have a seamstress come down from Los Angeles and actually make clothing for the family. That would have been done in this room.
Looks like a small bed.
Oh, it is, and a low bed.
And is this a, what would you call it, a convenience?
That is definitely a convenience, and it's very interesting to ask people on tours what they think the function of that is.
Well, I thought first it was a step stool, and I thought, no,
how low that bed is.
The bed's not high enough to need a step stool, so it must be a convenience.
And it's quite a nice convenience. And then this area over here is interesting also. This is where Mrs. Bixby would have taken care of a lot of her obligations. Remember, she had a lot of work to do. She had to homeschool the children because there weren't any schools around. She might have done that here. Mrs. Bixby also, remember, she had to do all the meal planning and all the ordering for shopping for someone to go to Los Angeles, 16 miles away, to haul provisions back down here. So she likely would have sat here and met with the cook or whomever was going to Los Angeles. So this was a very, this room was used for a multiplicity of purposes, just not for sleeping.
This looks like a unique piece. What is it?
It is. It's a wreath that's made out of human hair.
Why would you have a wreath made of hair?
That was considered in the late 1800s a very beautiful art form. Remember, these people were the original environmentalists. They never threw anything out.
So this was just a work of art. It wasn't something to be worn.
No, no, no. This was a work of art, and actually, although people saved hair, as you combed or brushed your hair every day.
Joining me now is Marcia Harris, who's one of the docents, and she's going to tell us about where we are right now.
We just walked through the gate that might have been the original gate entrance, but then again, this wouldn't have been grass. This didn't come out to the 30s. It would have been all dirt where a carriage might have come. And then as we imagine in the years go on, it would become a 1930 decoration here. And we have our reflection pond. What was the style of that time period?
And the reflection pond was, what, 1930?
1930.
And the two wings on each side of us, this used to house the different people who worked here at the rancho?
In different rooms, different things now have been set up. If you notice, we have a blacksmith room, and we have the foreman's room, and there was a laundry. Yes, a different area, different things for people to see in all the different time periods.
It really looks great, doesn't it? They've done a wonderful job in restoring this.
I'm excited about it being open again.
Well, thank you, Marcia. We're going to go in the house and check it out.
Enjoy. Have
Thank
a
you.
nice trip.
Okay, Vicki, come on and tell me all about the parlor here. This is Vicki Holden. She's another docent here at the Rancho, and this looks rather small. Is it for a parlor?
Fairly small. It's the size it was, though, in the 1870s when the Jotham Bixby family lived here. And they would have come probably in after supper, and the children would have found a small game to play, and the gentlemen might have had their cigars and played a game of cribbage. The ladies, if you look through the hazy smoke of the cigars, you might have seen the ladies sitting on the sofa and planning what they were doing the next day or where they were taking the children. And if you notice the stove in the corner, that's about the only stove that was in the house in the 1860s to keep the house warm.
Wow, it must have been a little chilly
I imagine it
some of
was.
the time.
That's why they had the bed warmers and things like that upstairs, yes.
Furniture doesn't really look that comfortable, does it?
No, it doesn't. I'm always amazed, though, when you think about during the summertime, they might have taken all that furniture out to the garden to enjoy the weather outside.
I think my lazy boy looks a lot more comfortable.
I agree.
Now, is this furniture period furniture, or is this part of the home?
This is period furniture. Unfortunately, we have very few pieces that actually belong to the Bixby family. We have a few, but not too many, because they had moved out of the house in the 1880s, and then when the Llewellyn Bixbys were here, they also moved out of the house and took everything with them at that time. So.
Well, Vicki, I want to thank you for your expertise. It's been a pleasure.
Well, we're glad you're here to see us. Thanks for coming.
My pleasure. Thank you. Okay, Steve, now this is a blacksmith shop. Right. And every ranch and every farm had, this was a very important place, right?
Extremely important. If you didn't have a good working shop for blacksmithing and for woodwork, your chances of keeping your operation working when you had breakdowns was real slim.
This looks rather small, is it?
The original shop was almost twice this size.
Oh, so it was larger.
Right. We have restored as much as we had available to show the operation of both the ironworking and woodworking.
Boy, with so little ventilation, this must have been rather warm in here when they had the kilns and blowers and everything fired up.
Yes, I'm sure it was very warm, although if you notice the cone-shaped windows near the ceiling, those were set up in such a way that the heat and the soot would tend to rise and be funneled out through those windows, and the cool air came in from the other side of the room in the door and the window.
Now, this part of the rancho is still from the 1844s?
Yes, the shop was originally built by John Temple in 1844 and supported his cattle ranching operation. This is the area where they shod the horses, repaired a lot of the equipment, buggies and wagons and fences.
Can we run down and take a quick peek at the foreman's
certainly
lodging?
Oh, yes.
Okay, now this is where the foreman lived?
Yes, traditionally, way back into the mid-19th century, the foreman lived in the room on the end and nearest to the gate.
Is there any reason?
Well, he would be able to oversee the coming and going of different people who came to the rancho. His responsibility was to manage the site when the owner wasn't here, which during John Temple's period of the cattle ranch in the 1840s and 50s was most of the time.
Now, this would be pretty typical of the 1844 conveniences?
Probably from 1844 through about the 1870s. Much of the furnishings are common to that period.
I like the way they lower the lantern and raise it.
Yes, that is a brilliant idea, isn't it?
The bed doesn't look all that comfortable to me either.
The bed itself is a straw mattress, and it is on top of a very early spring mattress, patented in about 1870.
I noticed a chamber pot under the bed.
Yes. Shall we show it?
Sure. Wow. That's different.
Popularly sometimes known as a thunderrug.
A thunder mug?
Thunder mug, yes. And that saved a lot of steps on a very cold night in the midst of winter.
I bet it did. Well, thanks, Steve. We're going to go back in the house and go to the library, and that's going to be our final shot.
Excellent.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right. I see a lot of books here, so I'm going to assume that this is probably the library. And joining me now is Ellen Calamaris, and she is the executive director of the Rancho. Is that your title?
My city title is Historic Sites Officer, but I direct the site for the city of Long Beach.
You've done a beautiful job in the restoration. I want to compliment you on that.
Thank you. We're very pleased.
Would you tell us a little bit about the library?
This library was first formed in 1930 out of 2 rooms from the 19th century. They were storage rooms. The family in the 1930s expanded it and created a family library in here. When the city of Long Beach acquired the site in the 50s, it was only natural to continue its use as a library. We were operated through the Department of Public Libraries and started to collect materials on California history. We now have a fine collection of California research materials, both rare books and modern texts. And this whole system is cataloged for the public library system. It's open for public use during our regular hours.
So people can come up here and do research using your materials?
Absolutely. We encourage scholars, students, and amateur historians to use the materials here on site. In addition, we have an archives and a research collection that is not in this room, but is also available for scholars who are specifically researching the Long Beach and Rancho history topics.
What a history this has to tell. If walls could talk, this would really tell a tale. What are your open hours? What hours are you open?
We're open Wednesday through Sunday from 1 to 5 for public tours, self-guided on weekdays and guided on weekends. We also have some extended hours in August for a couple of evening concerts during our reopening month. Some special programs in September 22nd. We're celebrating those and honoring people who've become new citizens with a big cultural celebration.
This is a yearly event, isn't it?
It is a yearly event, and we've expanded it September 22nd with dance and music and arts that represent the cultural diversity of our community.
So if people haven't been up to the Rancho yet and have not seen this treasure, they need to get up here very, very soon and experience a really, truly remarkable place.
We hope they will.
And I thank you, Ellen, for joining me, and I thank you for letting us take a tour of your Rancho today, because certainly this is a Long Beach treasure.
Thank you. We agree.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today, and be sure and come back next time as we take another walk. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Long Beach Treasures. I'm your host, Harvey Keller. Today we're going to be visiting the Gaytonia, which is a 27-unit U-shaped apartment building that was designed in the Norman Revival English Tudor style. It was built in 1930 by owner, contractor George Gayton at the cost of $100,000. And now let's look at some of the architectural features. The stucco interior contains pseudo-stone quoins and pseudo-half timber at the 3rd story. The overhanging upper story is set on corbels with a varied or broken eave line above the pointed windows. A steeply pitched hip roof tops the building, and the symmetrical design is broken by an asymmetrical corner turret with a conical roof, and the rooftop tower upon which there is a large metal scaffolding supporting a neon sign Gaytonia in Gothic script. Multi-paned metal casement windows of various sizes are used throughout the building, and an oriel window resting on corbels and with a battlement trim on top occupies the central recessed bay above the main entrance, while 2 smaller turrets with metal conical roofs crown the doorway. The door of the main entrance contains a stained glass window, and the entranceway is also flanked on either side by 2 stained glass windows. So if you'll follow me, we'll go on in and we'll see what it looks like from the outside or from the inside out. And joining me now is the manager here at the Gatonia. This is Charla Howard. Thank you for letting us come and visit you.
Well, you're very welcome. Thanks
Now,
for being here.
tell us a little bit about your wonderful building here.
Well, it's 27 apartments filled with a unique blend of characters. It's a very homey building, kind of rustic and well lived in. It's kind of building where people know each other, where we actually use the common areas, and it's just a really people-friendly kind of building.
The lobby really looks almost like a medieval castle. Is this used by your tenants?
Oh yeah, people come down and chat and eat some candy and
I notice
read magazines and enjoy.
A little ingle nook here with the fireplace, and if I'm not mistaken, the tiles on the inset there of the fireplace look like Batchelder tiles.
That's what they say.
I think every fireplace in Long Beach that was built in the 20s and 30s had Batchelder tiles on them.
Yeah, we have faux fireplaces like that in many of the apartments in the building.
Now, when this was built in the 1930s, this was an upscale living accommodations for the Navy officers living here in Long Beach?
I don't know if the original intention was for housing naval officers, but I think they migrated toward the building eventually. I don't know. I really don't know what the intention of the developer was, but it had maid service, linen service,
Well, that's my understanding, that this has always been an apartment building. When it was first opened, it was more operated more like a hotel with maid service, valet service, apartments completely furnished, even down to linen and china.
Correct. I try to replicate that in a small way. I do furnish fresh flowers and a kind of open ear, warm heart to the tenants here.
I like these. I like these light sconces here. They're very medieval, and it gives a lot of character to the entryway here.
Yes, at night they actually light up. Also, there's a timer.
God, what a beautiful place. Can we go maybe look at one of the apartments?
Oh, sure. We have one right around the corner, and then one floor down that we can get into. And
okay, we'll go on down and see them. I love these neat little arches here setting on the corbels with all of the decorative imprints underneath the crown molding.
Yes, it's definitely not a bland kind of corridor.
Wow, this is a unique apartment. I love the ceilings. The coffered ceilings are beautiful.
Yeah, and there's one of the fireplaces.
Again, with the Batchelder tiles.
Mm-hmm.
Do all the apartments have the fall fireplaces?
Not all, but most. But every apartment is a little different, which is kind of adds to the charm. This one is a one-bedroom.
They're really quite large, though, aren't they?
Yeah, very nice little nooks and crannies where you can...
I love the little alcove there.
Yeah, it's kind of like an altar or a meditation space or something.
This is wonderful. They have, whoever lives here has some really neat artwork, don't they?
Yeah, these people are collectors, and this is kind of like a work of art in progress always for them.
And this is the bathroom right here?
Mm-hmm.
This is quite unique, isn't it? I see a lady's foot hanging out the bathtub there.
Yeah, I don't think a crime has been committed, but I don't even want to check to see.
That's wonderful.
Many of the bathrooms still have this, I believe this is the original tile, and then this other tile, the shinier square tile, was probably a replacement at some point.
Now I notice you have these little steam heaters. Are those still used?
Yes, those are the only heating system in the building, the radiators. And we turn the boiler on in November usually and turn it off right around April.
And this then is the bedroom.
Right. This is a typical bedroom, nice closet space.
double closets, his and hers.
Architectural features.
I like the arches. They're just really quite, give it a dramatic flair.
Cove ceilings in this one. I mean, they're not all like this, but this is typical.
Now, are these light sconces original, or are these additions by the tenants?
These are actually tenant additions. But we have some original maybe up. I try to replace the original with something that is at least in the spirit of the building.
Do you have any idea how this fared in the 33 earthquake?
It stood.
Because it was very new then.
Yeah, it stood, and then what was the last big earthquake, the Loma?
Oh, I don't remember the date.
Yeah, I was in the building at that point, in the on the ground floor, and it rolled, but it was fine.
Now, I think you said there's one other apartment we could check out?
Sure.
Well, let's go look at it. Before we go to the next apartment, I forgot we have to check out this dining room. This is one of the most unique dining rooms I think I've ever seen.
Isn't it lovely?
Now, did the tenants do this also?
The tenants did this. It's sort of to create the feeling of being in a tent floating above this beautiful surrounding area that you can see from the windows here. And yeah, I think they've silk covered some foam panels and lined the walls, and then created this beautiful tent ceiling.
This is really unique. And I see the small little kitchens in there.
Yeah, and these people are gourmet cooks, too.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They throw dinner parties in this space here.
All right.
So you don't really need, modern conveniences to, have a really gracious lifestyle.
All right. Now we'll go check out the other one.
Okay.
Do you have garages here for your guests?
We have an underground garage, yes, but not enough spaces for everybody in the building, so there is a short waiting list.
These are beautiful little knockers with the lion design. So let me knock on the door and see if we can sneak in here.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Harvey Keller, and this is Long Beach Treasures.
Hi.
And you are?
Martha Ciotti.
And Martha, can we come in and see your charming apartment?
Yes, I would love that.
Thank you.
Come on, just come on in and go on back.
Make sure you're close to the mic.
This is considered a studio, even though I've made my dining room into a bedroom. So this is sort of the living room, morning room, evening room. Most of the stuff that I've gotten has been from thrift stores or stuff that people have given me. A lot of fake flowers, as you notice. I like to kind of have the environment of a garden. But I am growing some real plants now, too, and they seem to thrive in here. I also share the apartment with 3 cats, but they're probably hiding right now.
I see one of them under the,
oh, do you?
the
Okay.
table right there.
They might be curious and come out. And a lot of stuff are kind of religious treasures that I brought with me from New Orleans. So I've sort of decorated this into my sanctuary, and I've wanted to live in the Gaytonia ever since I was a little girl, so this is sort of a dream come true.
So are you a native Long Beacher?
Yes, I am.
Oh.
So I was out of the state for 15 years, and when I came back, I really wanted to live here. And Charla was gracious enough to let me come here with my 3 cats, and so we've been here for about a year and a half.
I understand once somebody moves in, they just don't move out because they love it here.
No, I have often joked that you would need to take the jaws of life to get me out of here. So.
Well, you certainly do have a unique apartment here.
It's fun, it's my style, it's my home, and I treasure it. I treasure the whole building.
Well, I thank you for letting us pop in.
Oh, you're welcome. You can see the bedroom if you'd like.
This is the dining room.
This is the dining room, a.k.a. Bedroom. So you see I get a lot of nice light in here, and I'm out on the patio. And I do artwork, so I do my artwork in here, and I study, and
This is very unique.
It's sort of everything, including the kitchen sink, I think.
I wouldn't be surprised to see it somewhere.
Yeah,
around
it
here.
might be there. Like, you know, in New Orleans, they have bathtubs with the Virgin Mary in them. So you see, I've learned an eclectic style.
This is wonderful.
Well, thank you. It's such a pleasure to show it. I love it when Charla comes down and you know, likes to show it to people. I love to show it off.
Well, I'm sure our viewers will be interested to see, because it's truly a unique experience.
Well, good. Well, thank you, and thank you for stopping by.
Thank you. Now, since your dining room is your bedroom, is this your dining room?
This is sort of just a little study patio, I think. I've sort of tried to put little sitting spaces so I can take advantage of every perspective I have in the apartment.
This looks like the original tile. Do you think it is?
I think it is, and it's the same that's in the bathroom, and it's one of my favorite colors, so I was really fortunate, and I love this see these little designs here, too?
Uh-huh.
So it's really unique and beautiful tile, I think. So, and I have a ceiling fan. We aren't sure what this little notch was ever used for.
I was just going to ask you if you have any idea what it was. I don't think it could be for a paper delivery or milk delivery.
Laundry chute, I think.
Was it a laundry chute? Okay.
It might have been a small one.
Well, we can use our imagination, and that's what's fun.
That's right. Well, this is charming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, this is the original elevator for the building?
Yes, it is.
It almost looks like an apartment entryway.
Oh, yeah. Everything is done with...
Oh, and the wood paneling is beautiful. Oh, we have one of your guests here.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi.
you are?
I'm Michelle Bridges.
Hi, Michelle.
Hello there.
Join us as we go up to check out the balcony.
Okay, so we should push 4. You have to give it a good hard push. It's not digital.
And this is the original paneling.
I believe so. It's beautiful. There were carvings in it. It said over there something like "Tony Rupolo must die," but it's kind of been rubbed out now. All right, so I believe we're here. Okay, here we are on the 4th floor, and this is our upper deck that people share.
Oh, what a nice view up here. Wished it was a little clearer today. We could probably see forever.
Yeah, you could see the Seal Beach power plants in that direction and the ocean over there.
You have another patio down below,
right,
and another
also
one over
common
here.
Area. That one, yeah, that's part of an apartment.
Wow.
Yeah.
They have that big, large private patio?
All for themselves, and the only dog in the building, a little pug, Buster.
Do you take pets?
Officially, no. But I'm going to take a census on how many cats live in this building, because I think there are probably more cats than people.
Now, oh, I see you have a barbecue so people can come up here and barbecue?
Yeah, actually that's one of the tenants, but she shares it, and then there are other barbecues. Also, there's a little side patio that a chef and his wife use for barbecuing.
Now, I notice an owl up there in the window of the tower.
Right.
Do they help?
I don't know, because we have now wired the windows shut, because one year I went up there with the elevator inspector. That's where the elevator workings are housed, and the pigeons had invaded the tower and had set up housekeeping there in a big way, so we've had to wire those little windows shut now.
Now, approximately how many apartments on each floor?
Well, every floor is different. This is a kind of a half floor. This is the back of the building, and you can see that the other floors extend beyond. It's a U-shaped building.
Right.
So there are 5 apartments on this floor, 8 on the floor below, and so on.
Do you have any idea how the oldest tenant, not in age, but
how long they've been here?
Yes.
Well, I'm among the most, long-staying tenants, which is about 14 years.
Wow.
We've had people here in the past who've been here longer, but...
now, this slate roof, that looks like that would be an expensive proposition to replace.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm glad I'm not going to be footing the bill. Expensive and very difficult to do because of the pitch. But,
Could we maybe run down and just check out the garage?
Sure.
Now, this is quite a large garage. One of the nice things about the Gaytonia is that you do have parking. A lot of the buildings downtown Long Beach, like the Cooper Arms, some of those high-rises, didn't provide parking.
Right. There was some foresight that went into this, for sure. In 1930, not very many people had their own personal automobile, I suppose. So.
And I'm assuming that this is the manager's car?
I wish. Actually, that's my car over there in the corner. I'm trying to sell it, by the way.
Now, you have how many parking spaces here?
I think 23.
And there are 27 apartments, so
and
not everybody has a parking space.
Correct, correct.
Whoever been here the longest has a parking space?
It's first come, first serve, right? Some people who've been here a long time maybe don't even want a spot. So, you know, it's just, there's a short waiting list usually, and it's my biggest nightmare as manager to make sure that I don't, you know, get it wrong and give somebody a spot before somebody else who was in line first, that kind of thing.
Charles, I want to thank you for letting us come because this has been really delightful. I'm really impressed with the building.
Oh, you're welcome.
So thank you for letting us come and see your spectacular place and
thanks
your
for stopping
automobile.
by.
And don't go away. We'll be right back with more Long Beach Treasures.
What makes Paulie's different?
Well, first of all, his coffee is fresh roasted 1,000 miles from Seattle, so we like to have coffee that's fresher and tastes better.
We carry about 70 varieties of coffee. But the thing that I believe makes Paulie's special is the people who work at Paulie's. We're a neighborhood store. We're your family store. We know you, you know us. We'll take care of you.
We were voted the #1 coffee house in Long Beach in the recent Press Telegram poll.
Paulie's Gourmet Coffee. Doesn't get any better than this.
Oh, hi, I'm Dr. Jack Thomas, and I'm very excited to tell you that Dr. Jack's House Call, in conjunction with Charter Communications, is on the air in its brand new format. We're live the third Tuesday of each month at 6:30 p.m. with repeat performances twice weekly. It's incumbent on us to be advocates for our own good health. Staying well comes from living well, being informed, and not relying on health insurers who may not have our best interests in mind. So be smart. Tune in. It's your life.
Hi, I'm Mayor Beverly O'Neill asking every Long Beach woman 40 and older to have a mammogram this year. Together with local supporters, we can beat breast cancer.
Hi, I'm Judy Bambas from the Beckstrand Cancer Foundation, serving the critical survival needs of cancer patients in the Los Angeles County area for over 28 years. We're proud to be a sponsor of Long Beach Loves Women, and we urge you to show your love to the women in your life by reminding them to have a mammogram this year. Together, we can beat breast cancer.
We all learn to discriminate at an early age. The question is, are we willing to change? Lead the fight against prejudice. To learn how, visit nccj.org. My name is Maya Angelou.
And welcome back to Long Beach Treasures. Next month will be the end of our third year of bringing you Long Beach Treasures, and week after week after week you've invited me to your home, and I appreciate it. So I would like to return the favor and invite you into my home. Although it's not a historic home and I don't live in a historic district, it's my Long Beach treasure. So come on in and see where I live. Okay, and this is Christy. She shares the house with me. She keeps me company and she protects my property, and she's a great gal. You can notice the dimensions of the room here. It's quite large. This house is about 1,700 square feet. It was built in 1918. Most of the house is original. There have been a few modifications, which if I had to do it over again, I would not make. The crown molding is one of my favorite features in both this room and the dining room because they just really add a distinctive style to the architecture. This is very typical of a California bungalow in Alamitos Beach. Now, Alamitos Beach runs from Alamitos to Junipero, from the south side of 4th Street to the ocean. This, I think, is my favorite room. This is, I guess, what I call the sun room because it always has sun coming in with the two large windows. Again, the room is just a comfortable room. This is a Murphy bed here, by the way. The door just swings around and the bed pulls down. So this could be a third bedroom also. This is really a comfortable room to read in and just to sit and relax. It's always light and airy and comfortable. Come on in, we'll show you the dining room. Again, you'll notice that these rooms are quite large in proportion. I've always wanted a big dining room table, so I finally found one. I like to entertain, I like to have people over for dinner, and I hate to be crowded and cramped. So my new table serves my purpose as well. Again, you can see the crown molding here in this room. It's a distinctive feature in many of these homes in Alamitos Beach, the California bungalows. The breakfast room and the kitchen area. The kitchen, of course, has been remodeled. It was remodeled when I purchased it, and I put in the French doors here and added the patio to give the breakfast room a more appealing look. You might notice that throughout the house I have 5 sets of French doors, so if anybody likes to wash windows, this is a perfect house for them. As we go down the hallway here, it has 2 bedrooms in the back of the house. And of course the bathroom is original. You'll notice the original tile here in the bathroom. And again, even the bathroom is quite large in proportion. The built-in here is original. Originally it had a mirror built in above the vanity here, and when I took the mirror down, there were newspapers tacked to the wall to cushion the mirror, and the newspapers were dated 1918. So I know the house was built at least no later than 1918. The pedestal sink is original to the house. The pull chain toilet is an addition that I added. It's not original to the house, although I'm sure when the house might have been built, it might well have had a pull chain toilet. As we go into the bedrooms, you can see that, again, they're quite large. Even with a king-size bed and other pieces of furniture, the rooms are quite large. It's really a comfortable home. I have enjoyed it, and I've lived here for about, I guess I'm going on 26 years. And this is the second bedroom. Again, it's the same proportion and size as the other room. Even the closets are walk-in, and they're quite large. I've even thought of maybe putting a second bathroom in one of the closets because they're as large as most homes' bathrooms are in the newer homes in this day and age. So as you can see, the home is a very comfortable home. I've enjoyed it. I enjoy the area that I live in. We have a strong neighborhood association in Alamitos Beach, and we have a close-knit community. The area at one time probably was not as safe as it is now, but it's really quite a nice neighborhood and area in which to live. So if you're looking for a good place to live, think Alamitos Beach. I want to take just a minute to thank all of you for supporting Long Beach Treasures in the past 3 years. I appreciate all the comments that you make, and when you stop me on the street to tell me that you enjoy the show, it really makes it all worthwhile. We try to bring you different places in Long Beach that perhaps some people don't have an opportunity to visit, and there are probably some areas in Long Beach that we're not aware of. So if any of you have any suggestions for shows, things that you would like to see us bring to you on Long Beach Treasures, why, give me an email. My email address is lbtreasures@aol.com. So if you have anything you want to see, if you have any suggestions about the show, why, let us know. Email me, or you can call Charter Communications. And again, I want to thank you for your support over the past 3 years, and I appreciate all your excitement and enjoyment that we have been able to bring you. So again, I thank you, and join us again next month as we bring you another walk through history and uncover more Long Beach treasures.
Wilbanks Carpet Company.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Long Beach Treasures. This show marks the end of our 3rd year, and so welcome to the Edison Theater. You'll notice that this building was built in 1917. Some of the architectural features up there, you'll notice the cast concrete brackets below the roof line, which have been cast to look like wood. You'll notice the rich detailing between the brackets and the 3 lions with the shields there guarding the building. The windows on the 2nd floor are known as shoulder-arched windows. It's quite a beautiful building, although it's not designated as a historical building. And if you look across the street, you'll see the American Hotel. The American Hotel, built in 1905, stylistically is one of the oldest buildings in the downtown commercial area. And to the west of the Edison Theater is the historic Insurance Exchange Building. This building is now being converted into lofts type apartments, and as it nears completion, we'll revisit the Insurance Exchange Building and show you what a beautiful building it's going to become. And now if you'll come with me, we'll go inside the Edison Theater and we'll meet Howard Berman, who is the artistic director for the theater. So come along and we'll go in and see the theater. And this must be Howard Berman, who is the artistic director of the theater.
It is. Hi. Nice to have you.
Thank you for letting us come and see your theater.
It's
Can
a
we
pleasure.
walk on in?
Let's do it.
All right. Now this is called CalRep. Is CalRep short for California Repertory Company?
California Repertory Company is the producing agency that uses this theater. That's right.
And what a repertory company, what is it?
Repertory Company is a company of actors, designers, and technicians, management people that come together as a company to produce theater.
And the Edison Theater, the name is because of?
Well, when we built the theater 5 years ago, when we built the space to be a theater 5 years ago, the university supported us in coming downtown and doing that and wanted to have something in the community that would represent the university, but there was no money. So we went to the redevelopment agency. The redevelopment agency found us this space and leased it to us for $1 a year. But we had to then create a theater within the 4 walls of this space. And that was going to take around $750,000 for us to do that. And just as we were about to begin construction, Edison announced that they were going public, or the state announced that the utilities agencies were going to go public. So I thought right away, Edison would probably like to curry the favor, if you will, of the community in which they are located. So we went to Edison and they supplied a good deal of that $750,000 to help us build this space in return for putting their name on the building, and we were glad to do that.
Now, you're associated with the university.
Yes, that's right.
So are a lot of your actors in the theater arts at the university?
The company is made up of MFA students. These are graduate students.
And MFA means?
Master of Fine Arts.
Okay.
These are graduate students. The average age is about 40. So most of the people in the company have had professional experience. They've come back because they want to be part of the repertory company associated with the university. They all teach part-time at the university while completing the MFA degree. And to those MFA students, we add professional actors, designers, and directors as we need them.
Because I've seen names of major stars who have appeared here.
Right. We cast first within the company as far as we can, and then when we have needs for a performer who we can't cast, then we go outside, and we bring in everything from working actors to stars, celebrities, whatever is appropriate for a particular show.
Now, like the International City Theater, I notice this is a small theater, and I'm assuming that you have under 99 seats are under, am I correct?
I would say if you counted, you would find exactly 99.
And the reason 99 is such a magical number?
The equity, which is the actors' union regulations, have a break between 99 and 100. If you go to the 100th seat, the costs of doing business escalate rapidly and would probably put us in the position where we could not do the shows at the level that we produce them now. Our production standards are very, very high. They are among the highest, if not the highest, of any 99-seat theater in Los Angeles. But if we go to that 100-seat, then the costs of the performers goes up significantly.
So it's production cost that the major factor?
It's the major factor. There's a second factor, and that is the seats in the Edison are totally flexible. That is, they're all on modular units. We can play circular, we can play arena, we can play thrust, we can play against one wall, the other wall, the back wall, 2 walls, 3 walls, so that every time an audience comes into this space, it's completely redesigned. We not only
so
design
the seats are not always like this?
No, this is the first time they've ever been like this, actually. Completely flexible. So we not only just design scenery for the shows, we completely redesign the space. So when an audience member walks in, it will look different every time. And 99 seats helps us with that flexibility as well. If we had more seats in here, we wouldn't be able to do that.
Is your scenery minimalistic?
No, but it's highly theatrical. And so we go to a very theatrical pace. Now, the show that we're seeing that's up right now is minimal because of the nature of that show, but not always. Sometimes this place is just crammed full with scenery.
And I think you have an O. Henry show coming up in December?
We have an O. Henry Christmas, which is now the 10th year, going to the 10th year of it. It's become a bit of a Long Beach tradition. We created it here 10 years ago. We've produced it every year for 10 years. It's now done all over the country by other theaters. It's also done in Europe some. It's been translated into Dutch. It's done in Holland. And for the last several years, it just totally coincidentally is co-sponsored in part by Charter Communications, so we're very pleased with that.
How often do you change productions?
Normally during the year we do 5 productions during the season, which runs from September to May. So a show will run up to a month, 6 weeks at most, and then change to the next show.
Do you do any avant-garde productions?
We do, you probably call them all avant-garde to a certain degree. We do highly theatrical shows utilizing metaphor, and we try to do shows that are original. Mostly they're new works. We're not a museum theater. There's a place in the world for museum theaters, and I'm happy to go to many of them. But that's not what we do. We do new works. We do them in a highly theatrical context. And we attract an audience who wants to see, I hope, intelligent theater done in the kind of way that we do. We're not the theater that's going to do the normal community theater or other professional theater kind of fare. Again, those are fine, but that's not what we do.
Do you have any Long Beach or local playwrights who do any of the writes any of the scripts?
We have had quite a number of local playwrights do scripts with us over the last 15 years, sure.
You know, I was in here once when Long Beach Heritage had a meeting here, and I thought I remember a pit in the middle of the floor.
That was the most expensive part of rebuilding this theater, was digging the pit. The entire space that we're looking at has a basement below it, which allows us to do scenery that comes up through the floor or down into the floor. It also allows us to put machinery down there a lot so that we can make scenery move and do sort of magical things. The scenery behind me, that stoop over there, in fact, moves across the entire stage. It's on tracks, and that basement allows us to do that. It's the only theater in Los Angeles that has that capability.
The production you're doing now, this is the arrangement for the theater for that particular production?
For that production and only for that production. It will change as the productions change as well.
This is really sort of a quaint, neat little theater. I like the intimacy of it.
Yeah, it's a fabulous space. We have a lot of guests that come in here and work here and go away saying, it may be the most interesting small theater, a 99-seat theater in the Los Angeles area. It's superbly well equipped. We've put a lot of money into lighting and sound and the technology and the lighting board and all of that. And with the ability to rearrange the seats and reconfigure the space all of the time, it's a very inviting space.
And you've been here how long now?
Well, I started CalRep in 1989, so I've been with it its entire life so far.
So it's not a Johnny-come-lately theatrical production.
By the standards of small theaters, we are very long-lived. 15 years is a long time to go, and we're healthy, and we're drawing good audiences, and I don't see why it's not going to go for another 15 and a lot more after that.
Why do you say that 99-seat theaters have a short lifespan?
Well, it's hard to make money in a 99-seat theater. You just can't sell enough tickets at that size, at a reasonable dollar amount to attract a large enough audience to pay your bills. We, in effect, since we are connected to the university, we don't have a lot of the bills that most of the other theaters have. All of the principal directors and designers all teach at the university, so that's where the salaries come from. If we had to pay everyone's salaries, including the artistic director's salary first out of the box office, we couldn't do it. So most theaters are not able to do what we are able to do. We are, in fact, subsidized by the university to be able to do what we do. So we can pay for sceneries, costumes, props, and lights from ticket sales. We can't pay for the salaries. Other theaters can't do that. They have to pay salaries as well.
You can't have a lot of storage in this building, can you?
No, and that's become a problem. We are, in fact, looking for storage now in the downtown area. We have storage at the university. It's not enough as we continue to build things and save them and try to keep them for other productions. We are running quickly. We're running out of space.
Could we maybe walk back and see the rest of the theater?
Absolutely.
I guess we won't fall into the pit.
No, not on this show anyway.
Dark colors, is there a reason for that?
Sure, so it doesn't reflect light. When the doors are open, we don't want to reflect light back into the theater.
Are we going up topside here?
We are. Get some lights on, we can make our way up. This was last used as a photo, Weber's camera place, and it was filled with photography equipment and so forth, and we had to have all of that taken out.
So these are the dressing rooms?
These are the dressing rooms. This is the ladies' dressing room, and Edison Carpenters very obligingly built all of these cabinets for us in their own cabinet shops, and they're really first rate. And then this is the men's dressing room that has as a distinct advantage, it opens out into a little
balcony?
Sort of balcony with a staircase down there, which sort of interestingly enough is used in the film It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World that Stanley Kramer directed. And if you ever see that film, you'll see Spencer Tracy and several other people running up into this back door.
In fact, I watched them film that here in Long Beach.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
I won't say how many years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago, yeah.
Wow, this is a very, very nice little area.
It is. And then the control booth.
Okay, you said this is the control room?
This is the control room, the nerve center, if you will, of the theater. In it we have the lighting and the sound control and the video control. This is the $100,000 light board, which a few years ago would have taken up rooms, about 5 rooms this size with dimmers. Now it's all computerized. And we have television monitors so that the stage managers, there's a television camera showing the stage at all times, the stage managers can watch the show live on closed-circuit television so that they can call the cues as necessary.
Boy, looking out the window there sure is, I don't know what it is. It's just, that must be the lights, is it?
That's the lighting grid. We had to bring in our own steel beams and welders to put that in place because it's freestanding because of earthquake issues. It's not connected in any way to the building other than the floor. And so that was a major operation when we had that put in.
Well, I want to thank you for letting us come and see your theater, and I hope that everyone comes and sees an O. Henry Christmas and all the other productions that you do here, because we need to help out our local theaters and be a partner with them.
Well, thanks for coming down. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Howard.
You bet.
And don't go away. We'll be right back with more Long Beach Treasures.
One of the things that I like the most about Charter's cable pipeline is the fact that we no longer have to utilize our telephone lines for internet service, which for us is a godsend. Another thing that is excellent is the fact that it dials up in a matter of seconds. There's no waiting for the dial tone, there's no waiting for unfortunate busy signals, and it's there. It's accessible to us right away within a few seconds. And the downloading is so quick. So to us, that's a true godsend.
We all learn to discriminate at an early age. The question is, are we willing to change? Lead the fight against prejudice. To learn how, visit nccj.org. My name is Maya Angelou.
Call now to reserve your time for your holiday celebration at Mum's Restaurant.
Welcome back to Long Beach Treasures. Joining me now is Gary Lamb, who's one of the partners in the architectural firm of Interstices. He and his partner are going to be involved in this building. I've just been told. And so, Gary, give us a little idea of what might be going to happen here.
Well, the new owners are really investigating right now what the best use for the building is. There's always the office use, there's possible residential use. But I think one of their main concerns is they really want to make the connection between Pine Avenue and the Queensway Bay development. So they really want to strengthen the retail and commercial development that runs along Pine Avenue. So
now this is designated as a historical building, correct?
Right. My understanding is that the exterior of the building and the interior corridors, which have these beautiful mahogany doors and marble wainscoting and terrazzo floors, they're beautiful.
And I know down on the Pine Avenue side down there's an arched opening, which I believe used to be the entrance to the Pike and the beginning of the Walk of 1,000 Lights.
Exactly. That used to be the entrance to the Pike, like you said, and right now that could be just used as access way to some of the commercial spaces down there, but it's a very prominent element of the building.
On top of the building, there's an octagonal tower, and I believe there used to be a 50-foot tower with a lantern on top. Is there any thought of maybe reproducing that?
Right. The new owners are very interested in, just examining what it would really take to put this lantern and tower back on. It was a beautiful element, but I guess after the 33 quake, it either had significant damage and was taken off. But they're, really investigating that. They think it would be a nice addition back to the old building.
Now, when I do my downtown walking tours and I do this building, my notes say that this is California eclectic or Mediterranean Art Deco. Now, as an architect, I don't know if you would agree with my assessment or not.
Sounds good to me.
Well, they said the Art Deco would be the step massing as it is terraced down the beach in order to take advantage of the ocean view for many of the upper floors.
Right. It's a beautiful building. The whole terracing of the building is is quite amazing because there's so few floors that are identical on the project.
Now, I also have a picture of this building, and these two large areas here in my picture used to be plate glass windows.
Right, and we're examining now with the structural engineers, and these don't appear to be any kind of a seismic retrofit, so the possibility that we could open these back up, this could be a future restaurant and retail space, would really bring life back to the corner of the street here.
How about retail space along the Pine Avenue side there?
Right, as you go down the hill, there used to be retail spaces that had steps up into those, so same thing, we want to look at bringing that back and really making that a lively part of Pine Avenue again.
I noticed some of the classical elements here would be the coining on the sides of the building. You have the pediment up there on brackets and the broken pediment here with the face of Neptune in the middle. Those are some of the classical elements that would be incorporated into this building.
Exactly. There are some schemes, and I'm sure we'll see some pictures of that where the building, actually the coining that comes down the side was painted a contrasting color to the body of the building. So, that's one of the other issues really to develop and examine is what the final colors would be of the building.
It made it stand out so much more with a different color.
Exactly.
Let's go in and look at the inside.
Okay.
Okay, Gary. This is terrazzo flooring. Is this going to remain?
Yes, and we're trying to keep this throughout the building. It's the exact same pattern on the office floors, so it's really beautiful.
One thing I love about this building are all of these old photos that they have along the glass encasements here.
Right, they really give you a sense of what the Pike used to be and what this whole area of downtown Long Beach, how much activity and energy used to be here.
And it gives you also a sense of how much we've lost here in the city of Long Beach over the years, because not too many were early preservationists.
Right, very true.
And now this is a mahogany wood here?
I believe so, and this is carried through onto the upper floors and the office doors and, like I said, the marble wainscoting in the upper floors.
As we go back to the back half of the hallway here, the walls are all marble. Is this unusual for a building of this type, a commercial building?
It really is. This is a very upscale office building, and you'll see when we go to the regular floors, just the same marble wainscoting that is carried through the typical office floors. It's a very, like I said, upscale building, the corner of Pine and Ocean, one of the pop spots.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, this was the first building built on the ocean side that was entirely for offices.
That's my understanding too. And another unique feature about this building is it's got the parking built into the building. So they were really thinking ahead back when they built this in the 20s. It's got 2 levels of parking.
Where shall we go and look now?
Let's go to one of the typical office floors, and then we can go out on one of the roof decks so you can actually get kind of a panorama of what's happening here.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Okay, Gary, this is a typical floor here in the building, and I noticed that they have the terrazzo flooring up here also. Is this throughout the building?
Exactly. Throughout the building, these beautiful terrazzo floors, which are in excellent shape, with the marble wainscoting and the mahogany doors, with the beautiful obscure glass in the doors. So it's quite unique for an office building for this detail.
I didn't realize how long it is. This is such a long corridor.
This is I think the building is about 170 feet from the Pine Avenue side down to Seaside Way. So it's quite a long building once you get on the lower floors. The upper floors are really, really small.
Are they?
Yes.
Let's go out on the balcony here, and we can get a lay of the land and see where we are. Now this gives you an example of what we meant by step massing as the levels go down to take advantage of the ocean view.
Exactly. This is a very interesting building. Like I said, it's just a maze of staircases that transition through the building just for exiting, to go from the really small floors to the medium floors to the large floors.
The caps on the sides of the building at the top of the coins almost look like medieval turrets.
Right, just the little crenellations, similar to what the Walker Building has had restored. And a lot of these, if you've seen some of the old photographs, used to have flagpoles coming out of each of the tops of these little
with their
turrets.
battlement flags on top?
It could be, yeah. I think they were Edison flags out at the top or something.
You get an excellent view up here, don't you?
Oh, you do. You get really an idea of the whole Queensway Bay project, the Camden's project, and the aquarium.
I didn't realize how big that project is over there.
It's quite large.
Well, this is quite spectacular. I'm looking forward to great things because this has always been one of my favorite buildings here in Long Beach. And I guess the reason it's always been my favorite building, when I went through docent training to do the downtown walking tours, this was the first building that I was assigned to talk about.
You learned all the stuff about this one first.
I did indeed.
Right. It has beautiful steel windows, which, you know, those would just need to be, you know, restored a bit, but it's an incredible building in relatively good shape.
Wow, Gary, this is impressive. Now, tell me what's up here.
Well, this is the old mechanical room. You have your boilers, you have your elevator equipment, you have some vent shafts from the entire building, and it's really interesting because it shows the whole structure of the building, the huge concrete beams and the poured-in-place concrete, you know, board-formed concrete, and the big circular vents where they used to be, you know, years ago were probably open just for ventilation for the whole system. But it's interesting to hear all the clanking of the actual elevator equipment.
Now, are you going to have to retrofit this?
Same thing. That's being examined right now as to really how much work the elevators need, because, you know, this is just an old mechanical system, so, you know, I'm not sure really what their life is.
Is there anything up here that would indicate where the old tower used to be?
Right. Over here, there's a ladder. This ladder that goes all the way up.
Oh.
There's an opening at the top, and that goes onto a flat surface where the old tower used to be. So it's, like I said, very, very interesting to get into this kind of a space, which you rarely get into this.
Have you been up there?
Not yet, right? One day. It's pretty high.
All right, let's go down and to the lower level.
All right, let's go.
Okay, now we're on the lower level here, Gary.
Right, this is the Pine Avenue lobby. It's really confusing. Sometimes you get in the elevators and it says Ocean Boulevard, Pine Avenue, and you kind of equate them the same, but this is actually the lower lobby, which comes right off of Pine Avenue. Which has
They've got some great murals here, don't they?
Oh, beautiful, beautiful photos showing the Pike and Rainbow Pier. Beautiful.
Now, what's this going to be?
Same thing. The idea is to keep this commercial or retail, and this would just be one of the entrances to some really nice commercial retail spaces.
I can't believe what good shape this floor is in. This is original?
Yes, original. Just amazing that, you know, built in, what, 29, that you could actually get, this would stay in such good shape.
And by the way, I guess we should mention that the architects were Meyer and Haller,
right,
who did your Walker Building.
They did the Walker Building.
They also did the Grauman's Chinese Theater and the Egyptian Theater up in Hollywood.
Correct.
And they were responsible for the Millbank House, which now houses the Long Beach Museum of Art.
Exactly.
So they were quite well known.
Very, very much so.
Do you have any idea how this building fared after the 1933 earthquake, other than having the tower taken off?
It seems to have fared pretty well. I know they had to come back in. We have some old plans that show some shear walls that were added after the 33 quake, and like I said, the tower that they had to take off. But in general, I think it fared quite well. They built these things like tanks.
And so this floor will then be commercial?
Right. I think it's just an essential link between what's happening down at the Queensway Bay and also all the Pine Avenue shops. And I think this building could play a really key role in, you know, tying Upper Pine with Lower Pine in the convention center.
There is the linkage theory that people are trying to put together to connect Pine Avenue with the
Queensway Bay, right.
Right.
And it is just a missing element that I think that, you know, people, you know, in the city and just local folks really need to get behind, because it's you know, this is this huge block of, if it doesn't get developed properly, it is just this missing segment.
I'm glad to see that it's going to be rehabilitated, because it's been neglected for a while and it was starting to show its age a little bit. So yeah, with it being refurbished, why, it's going to be another shining jewel here in preservation for the city of Long Beach.
Right, and the new owners really love historic buildings. They own quite a few buildings in downtown Los Angeles and I think in other cities around the country. So they really have a love for this building.
They must be preservationists at heart too, to rehabilitate a historic building like this.
I think so.
We need more of them.
You're right, we do.
Well, Gary, I want to thank you. This has been a pleasure, and I want to come back after you finish doing whatever you're going to do and take another look at it, because certainly this is a Long Beach treasure. And as I said, this has always been one of my favorite buildings, and I'm really glad that something is going to happen. Great. And I'm looking forward to shops along Pine here, because that would be a perfect place to showcase some businesses.
Right. I think we're all looking forward to this just happening and being one of those nice linkages.
Gary, thanks.
Good. Thank you, Harvey.
And we'll meet again.
Right. We will.
And be sure and join us again next month as we take another walk through history and uncover more Long Beach treasures.